everyone. My name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do my second half of August wrap-up. So, you guys, major plot twist. It is September 1st as I'm filming this, and my October baby decided to be an August baby. So, last Friday, we had our baby. She was 8 weeks and 2 days early, so we are juggling a lot right now. We are juggling our two big girls who are 2 and 4, and then now a baby in the NICU for 4 to 8 weeks, so things are going to be a little weird around here. So as you see, I'm filming in my bedroom. It's like 6 in the morning. I'm trying to squeeze this in before my big girls wake up and the day gets started. And so I just ask for a little bit of grace in this time, just that you guys hang with us, and there will be content. It just may be kind of weird content, a little less good lighting as you see the sun streaming into my face. Background is kind of crazy. Sound may be crazy, but I'm doing this one because I really like interacting with you guys. It really gives me something else to think about, and just a little bit of normalcy feels really good to me right now. So there will be content. It'll just be a little weird. So let's just get into the August wrap up. So as always, I will do the stats, and then I'll go through the books in the order that I read them. So for the second half of August, I read 12 books. The average page length was 244 pages. It's 2,926 pages total, which is 183 pages per day. I read 9 novels, 2 chapter books, 1 graphic novel. Then it's 9 adult, 1 young adult, and 2 middle grade. And then as far as star ratings go, you guys, it was a rough second half of the month. And I don't know if it was just because of all that was going on. If you guys have been following for a while, it was a high-risk pregnancy, so there's been a lot of appointments, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. So I don't know if my mood impacted my reading or if I just was not picking great things the second half of the month. But star ratings, I had 1 2-star, 2 2.5 stars, 5 3 stars, and my highest rating was a 3.5, and I had 4 3.5 stars. So not ideal. The average was a 3-star, and for me, a 3-star is like, that was a book that I read. I wouldn't recommend it, but it was fine. So not a great second half of the month for me. But I read 2 off my shelf and 10 not on my shelf, so also not ideal. 7 from Libby, 3 from the library, and 2 from NetGalley. 9 were audiobooks. So all the novels I read were audiobooks. Then I read 3 physical, which was the graphic novel and the 2 middle grades with my daughter. I read 4 new releases and 8 backlist. And then as far as genre goes, I read 3 mystery thrillers, 3 nonfiction, 2 contemporary, 2 women's fiction, 1 sci-fi fantasy, and 1 romance. So kind of still all over the board, which is kind of what you get when you come to this channel. It's a little bit of everything. So let's just get into the books. I'll just go in the order that I read them and let you know what I thought. So I read The Amendment and The Atonement by Kiersten Modglin. So this is number 2 and 3 in her arrangement series, and I gave both of those 3 stars. The first one I gave like 4.5. I really, really liked the first one. The second 2, not as great. I think I did like the third one better than the second, but I'm not going to say really anything about the plot because that would spoil the first one. So I would say still give them a read. They're really short. Like I think they're maybe 6 hours on audio, so they're pretty short. And if you liked the first one, maybe give it a read. But if you don't love the first one, you're not missing anything to just stop. Then I read The Lazy Genius Kitchen by Kendra Adachi. So I gave this one 3.5 stars as well. Kendra Adachi wrote The Lazy Genius Way, and I loved that book. It's all about how to work smarter, not harder, and just how to streamline your life so you're kind of making your brain power go towards what actually matters to you and not just arbitrary stuff. And so then this one is The Lazy Genius Kitchen, and I feel like my kitchen strategy is pretty good. I don't really feel anything wrong. I've got a meal planning strategy and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really feel like I was needing anything, but I felt so much inspiration from her first one that I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And it was good. I don't really think I took away a whole bunch, except it was good. And if you are, we are lactose intolerant vegetarians, so basically vegans. So she does talk about a lot of specific recipes and that things you can make 1,000 different ways, add more liquid and it's a soup, add less liquid and it's a burrito filling or whatever it may be. And a lot of those didn't apply to me because they were all meat based. And so, yeah, but she talks a lot about the organization of your kitchen to make sure that it's functionally good. She does talk about meal planning. She talks about specific meals. And so if you're having any sort of disturbance in your kitchen as far as you need a little help with making it less crazy feeling, do it. One thing I did take away is like, make sure you're kind of prioritizing what matters again. And like clutter is something I despise, especially in my kitchen. And so really making sure that like I'm worried about that because that stresses me out and not 1,000 other things. So yeah, overall a really good book. Next was The Year of the Baby by Andrea Cheng. So this one is a middle grade. It is the second in a series, and I don't think you need to read the first. I hadn't read the first, but it's about a young girl named Anna and her two friends. Her family is Chinese, and they adopt a little girl from China, and this little girl is like having failure to thrive. I think she's around 18 months, and she's not gaining weight. She's not growing now that she's in the States. And so it's a lot of the point of the story is this little girl, her sister, the Anna, her and her friends make her sister a science experiment. So they try to figure out different ways to make her eat and to make her gain weight. And I just didn't like, this is a touchy subject for me because both of my girls were slow gainers as babies. And so they like gained weight really slow. Like they went through big phases of like growing tall and then growing out and then growing tall and then growing out. And the emphasis on weight is a marker, but it's not the only marker. And I thought this book really promoted like distracted eating and like things that disengage you from your body. Like I really wanted to know why she was having a hard time eating, not like just cover it up with a band-aid of like singing and dancing while she's eating to distract her. So it just felt icky, the focus on weight as opposed to growth and development, because she was meeting all of her milestones, like all of these kind of things. So like, where's really the problem? I didn't really understand, and I had a hard time like explaining that to my daughter, that the only indicator of a problem was weight. And you know, I don't know. I just did not like that at all. So I gave that 2 stars. Next was The Blame Game by Sandy Jones. So I have loved Sandy Jones in the past, and I was super excited for this. I got it on NetGalley, super excited, and I gave it 2.5 stars. It was not good. And like, I read it obviously sometime in the past 2 weeks, and I like barely remember any of it. It's about a therapist who gets overly involved with her patients, and the first half of the book literally is pointless. Like, it's just talking about how she's getting overly involved with this couple, or not couple, but 2 people. One is a guy, one is a girl. They both have different things going on. She's getting overly involved. One of them goes missing. We have to decide, is she involved? Is she not? What's all the connections between everything? And it was just dumb. And like, there's so much that is so unanswered and just so many huge plot holes. 2.5 stars, not a fan. Then I read Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman, you guys, and I didn't like this one either. Like, I gave it 3 stars. It's just by far my least favorite in the series. There is an eating disorder brought up in this book, so major trigger warning for that. And I felt like in this book specifically, it didn't really have like the appropriate discussion, and it felt gross. Like, it felt thrown in for drama's sake, because otherwise there's not a whole lot of plot in this book. So our couple is a couple, they're established, they're on a summer trip, and that is like the controversy, or not the controversy, but like the conflict. And it just didn't feel good to me. So I gave that 3 stars. Next is Carry On Warrior by Glennon Doyle. So I love Glennon Doyle. I have loved all of her books that I've read so far, and this one was good. I gave it 3.5 stars. This is one from back when she was married to her husband. Very, very, very involved in the church. And just, it seemed like it was not inauthentic at all, because if you know Glennon Doyle now, she's married to a woman. She's got different like religious beliefs, not necessarily, well, I'm not going to label anything, because they're just not like your very standard Christian beliefs. And this book did not feel inauthentic, even though she was at a different place in her life, because she was definitely talking a lot about like finding your truth. And so I appreciated that, but it just felt weird knowing like how different things are for her now. And it was very much just like kind of random musings from her, and I liked them. It was stories about her own life when she carried on in the face of adversity or hardships or whatever. And that feels good, especially as we are in a really, really challenging season. So that felt good, but it wasn't the best thing ever. Like it was not as inspiring to me as like Untamed or some of her newer stuff. So 3.5 stars on that. Then I read Beaus' Magical New Friend by Rebecca Elliott. So Sophie from All Things Equilateral, I will link her channel down below. She doesn't really post videos that much anymore, but she is also on Instagram, so I will link both down below. She is a school librarian, and so I text her and I was like, hey, me and my daughter are kind of running out of different like chapter books. We've read all the complete series of things that she loves, and do you have any suggestions for other stuff? And so she recommended a ton, and so I just went on my library and put them all on hold. So Beaus' Magical New Friend is the first in the Unicorn Diaries by Rebecca Elliott. And this was super cute. It's in diary format. It's really colorful. It's really fun. Beau is a female unicorn named Rainbow, and she gets a new friend. And there's some different like learning curves with how to make this new friend, and I really enjoyed it. It was 3 stars for me because it was not the best thing ever. It was really fast. I think it was under 100 pages in its diary format, so I think we read it in a day or two. But it was cute. Well, I think we're going to continue on with the series. I'm kind of letting my daughter lead the charge on that, but it was cute. And she's also got the Owl Diaries, and we have one of those, so we'll see which we like better. Next was Dear Edwards by Anne Napolitano, maybe. And this I read for Krista from Books and Jams. I'll link her down below too. Her Patreon was this book. And so this is a book about a young boy named Edward. He and his family are going on a plane from New York to LA, or maybe vice versa. I can't remember. The plane crashes, and out of the whole plane, Edward is the only survivor. And so he is sent to live with his aunt and uncle, and he's just kind of trying to figure out like life after he's just lost his whole family and lost like everything. And now he's like famous because how did he survive when 100 and something other people died? And so people start writing him letters, like family members of people who died on the plane and that kind of stuff start writing him letters. And this is a very, very slow moving book, and I just had a hard time like engaging in it, but I don't really like really slow character studies, stories about grief, all of that. That's just not really my jam, but if it is yours, I would say this is definitely a good one. So for me, it was kind of wrong book, wrong time, because I think I was reading this like when we had our baby. So stories about grief, slow stories, all of that just were not the time for me. So 3 stars on that one. Next is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. So Brene Brown is another one that I really like. And this one, again, was just okay for me. So I don't know. I'm definitely taking a lot of comfort and inspiration and like strength from the Bible. And I'm not finding it as much in these kind of self-helpy books. And I don't know if that's just where I am or what it is. But this one was fine. Brene Brown is another really great speaker and author. And so this one is just about the good things that come with imperfection. None of us are perfect. And when we realize that, it's kind of freeing. And so 3 stars. It was good. It was entertaining. It was times when I was like, oh, okay. But nothing like huge takeaways. And then last is Where'd You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. So this is about a young girl named Bee. She is in middle school, I think, and she gets good grades. And so her parents say, like, what do you want as your gift for earning good grades? And she says, I want to go to Antarctica. So her mom is this famous architect who's very quirky, struggles with mental health. She's kind of a shut-in, and she disappears before the trip. And so we're trying to find out where's Bernadette, the mom, but also we're trying to figure out, like, who is Bernadette? What's her past? All of that, like what made her this way? What kind of led up to where we are now? And this was okay. It was really okay. I listened to it on audio, and the narrator was awesome. She was so great. But I wonder if that was not the best way to consume this, because it is told a lot in emails, voice memos, those kind of things. And so as you're listening to it, it kind of became like, what's going on? Who is that? This feels just like random tangents and unrelated things and kind of distracting. And I just didn't love it. 2.5 stars. It was funny at times, but the overall plot was kind of like, what's the point here? I don't really know. So that is my second half of August wrap up. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. If you guys pray, please pray. My little girl, her name is Etta Ruth. And so Etta, if you just pray for her, pray for us, we would really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.